Welcome back to my channel. Today I would like to talk about selling your artworks overseas to a foreign country. This can be very exciting because this is your first step towards becoming an internationally renowned artist, accessing the larger market. Maybe your market currently is weaker than other countries, or maybe you think your talent worth much more money somewhere else, but you cannot travel yet. This is an excellent idea so that you can access that market, make that money without having to leave your art studio. However, there are a lot of precautions, a lot of details and bullet points that perhaps you have never thought about if you have not carried out and fulfilled an order yet. And that's why I'm going to talk about those 5 different things about selling your art to a foreign country. First thing first is the customs, is the inevitable, because every perhaps 3 artworks that I have shipped, one got caught by the customs and asked for additional paperwork, and this is just my perhaps bad luck. I have known people that were selling for like larger amount but they were not caught. But just to be careful, you can put in the fine prints that the customer is in charge of handling the clearance paperwork of their own country, because obviously they are the citizen of that country, they are the importer of your art, and they can at least share some responsibilities of this fulfillment. However, you do need to support them. You need to supply how much was the transaction costs, how much did it cost you to purchase the materials, so that you can show how much is actually valued at, so that they can pay the proportional corresponding taxes. And depending on their country, I would say 17% to 45% on leisure and luxury products like a piece of art is somewhere appropriate. If you're selling your artworks to the European Union, your works will also subject to the sales tax of European Union, which is the VAT, value added tax, or you can call it VAT, which I know it sounds a little odd, like VAT, but what? On average, it's around 20%. There are some countries are lower, like 18, 19. There are some countries higher, like in Spain, it's 21%. And you need to also bear that cost. And in this case, the sellers always bear the cost of the VAT, and the final sales price should include VAT without exception. If you are selling your artworks a lot to the European Union, make sure that you are VAT registered. You can register it with a lawyer, or you can do it with, I don't know, yourself or with a friend, so that you can find out how to frequently do business with a VAT number, everything more legalized, and it will be a lot easier for you to constantly carry out this activity. The second thing would be quite logistic about shipping and insurance. Usually the shipping internationally is very expensive by air. For example, I just saw a video of an artist whose works was sold at like $250, $300, but the shipping was like $500. So he was quite shocked about the shipping price, and he previously promised a free shipping worldwide, and he should not have, because it could cost more than the actual value, sales value of your artwork. And also the insurance. Usually the shipping comes with insurance. However, the insurance does not cover the very expensive artworks. It might cover the price of the shipping or twice as much as the shipping cost, but usually it will not cover, for example, artwork of millions, because it's not the domain of the normal freight insurance. If you want a specialized art insurance, you have to talk with a special insurance company or a carrier that can cost you even a fortune. So I would say just to forget about the insurance. You can get just a minimal insurance and protect your artworks really well. The third aspect is return and damages. Sometimes the customer can say, oh, it does not look the same as I see on the website, or sorry, it did not fit my house, or there are some damages like scratches or some bumps here and there. I'm not happy with the artworks. Here you have a problem, because you have already dealt with the customs, the shipping, the insurance, and paid taxes and whatnot, and now you have to return the damaged product. It can be a lot of hassle. I would say if the customers are still happy with your artworks, then just give them a discount. And if it's your fault, like you didn't protect your artworks well, or if it's a force majeure, like unexpected damages of a hurricane, of an earthquake, who knows what, so you can give a discount, so you save the trouble of having to ship back the artworks to you. Everybody's happy. Of course, you are perhaps less happy because you receive less money. About the returns, if the customers are not happy about the work and you want to be generous and give them a return, I would suggest you to find a buyer in the same region, in the same country, so you will not have to have the work shipped in and out of the customs area. At least you will not have to deal with the clearance again, and the shipping should be a lot cheaper because they are just shipping within the same area, and you can ask the first collector to ship out on their costs, and the second collector will have that discount, which is also a nice thing for everybody to have. The first aspect is the customer service. You are selling your art, you are the seller, and you have to fulfill the order or yourself, communicate with the customers, and you're doing literally the customer service job. And it can be a lot more difficult than talking to someone locally because of the time zone, the cultural, and the language. For example, I was quite offended by a seller in Spain, and he addressed me not as Madame or Miss. He dressed me like guapa, like, hey pretty, how are you doing today? And I was hugely offended when I first came to Spain, but later I got used to it. As you can see, that if you are addressing your customers and communicating with them in a way that is normal to you but not normal to them, you could really again get into trouble by addressing people or talking to people in a way that they did not agree and this and that. So it's extra work is very different than if you are talking to your local collectors, because they already know usually how people react when you say some things. And also, not to mention the language, if you're having, imagine, Chinese collectors, the Google translation will not work that well, and you want to make sure that the deal is secure, that there's no misunderstanding. Perhaps you need to hire a Fiverr translator, which you have to bear the costs. So finally, it's a lot of upfront cost and trouble and time-consuming customer service work. The last aspect is about the money transfer. You have to receive the money, of course, with PayPal, with direct transfer, with whatnot, like with a platform like Saatchi Art, Art Finder. If you receive the money into your bank account, you need to pay taxes. I mean, you need to declare as a business, as artists, quarterly or annually, depending on your region, and you need to be honest about your earnings because they can see how much money is pouring into your account. So you cannot hide that. If you actually sold it in cash, and you can say, oh, I collected cash, perhaps, you know, it's a small pocket money for a small trip or a night out with friends, and you can just put it into your pocket. Although this is not right, but according to your constitution, you are entitled to not to declare up into a certain amount. In Europe, in Spain, it's around $5,000 per year. You don't have to declare it because you don't earn enough. This is just free, tax-free pocket money for you as a citizen. Depending where you are, maybe you don't have that free quota, so you need to always declare everything, and this is adding extra works because you cannot like overlook any detail, otherwise you again get into trouble. A lot of problems, as you can see. Selling overseas, it can be a lot of trouble, a lot of work, but it can also be very rewarding. Selling overseas as an artist, you are raising the international awareness about your art, you are getting more exposure, and you are basically just penetrating more markets for your future sales. You have to weigh the pros and cons and see if it is the right time for you to enter this international domain. If you are very sure about selling your art in one specific country, maybe UK, US, Australia, China, you are very sure that your art will sell well in that country, I would have one suggestion for you is to travel to that country and import yourself and make your artworks in that country and put it in a storage, leave it in the safe hands of a gallerist or friends so that you can ship directly from that country. You can also apply for artist residency. For that case, just need a visa and your passport. You can see it's very easy to travel now internationally. It's perhaps in many cases easier for you to travel to another country than shipping several lots of your artworks to overseas. So just weigh different pros and cons and make that decision. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. I make a video every day on how to sell your art and how to become a professional artist. Raise your hands up if you have any questions. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video.